this is Andreas Moritz, and this is a question from someone who is asking, how do I quit smoking? And I would suggest that you don't try to quit smoking, because if you try to quit smoking, you do so because you think that smoking is something terrible that you need to avoid, that you need to subdue, you need to suppress the urge to smoke. And this is definitely the wrong way to go about it. If you want to stop smoking, there are much more benign and natural ways to get to the point where you don't need to smoke, where you don't feel attracted to smoke cigarettes. And so instead of focusing on the negative habit that many people call severely negative and harmful, instead of doing so, you can just as much focus on gaining something from the smoking habit. And let me elaborate on this a little bit. The next time you are pulling a cigarette out of the packet and you bring it to the mouth, you can say, well, basically I'm in charge of smoking here. The cigarette is in my mouth, but I have the power to either light it or not light it. And so you can make the decision at any time. And this is very important because you want to learn from the habit that you have developed, from the addiction that you may experience. You want to get to a point that you are no longer addicted to it, but you are basically dictating to it when you want to smoke a cigarette or not. And so you can use your addiction to become empowered, self-empowered. And this is a very, very different approach than most approaches that are out there, where you have to struggle and to fight something that you think is wrong for you. So once again, if the next time you choose to smoke a cigarette, take the cigarette out of the packet, bring it to your mouth, and then you make a decision whether you want to light it or not. If you decide to light it, smoke it and feel good about it, because you have made the decision consciously to smoke it. Now, with a couple of puffs, after a couple of puffs, you can make a decision to continue smoking until you have used it all up. Or you can make the decision to put it out. And so learn to exercise your ability to make decisions at any point when you are smoking. And this is very, very self-empowering, because there's no pressure to perform, there's no pressure to prove to yourself or anyone that you are in charge, that you can quit a habit, a harmful habit. But that you are always in control at any moment in time when you are smoking cigarettes. So what you can do that in many different ways. For example, you have a packet of cigarettes with you, and I advise you to always keep the cigarettes with you, even if you haven't smoked for weeks on end. Make sure you always have access to the cigarettes. Instead of trying to hide them or throw them away and then you're having to go to a store to get a new one. Now always make sure you have your cigarettes at reach. Because you don't want to get to a point of panic where there's a stressful situation and you look for your cigarettes. You want to make sure that you always have them available so that you are more self-empowered, that you can once again make the choice, you can make the decision either to smoke or not to smoke. Now the next time you take a cigarette, exercise your ability of self-empowerment by putting down the cigarette, put it back into the packet and tell the cigarette, I'm going to smoke you in 2 minutes, or 5 minutes, or half an hour. Doesn't matter, even if it's just for 1 minute. And then you take the cigarette out and then you smoke it. Once again, you have proven to yourself that you are in control, and it's not the cigarette that controls you. Now, if you have not smoked it for half an hour, you can say, well, I'm going to wait for another half hour, or I'm not going to smoke for an entire day. But if at any time during the day you change your mind, say, well, I changed my mind, I'm going to smoke a cigarette anyway. Once again, you have exercised your power. Gradually, when you do this, you realize that you are always in control, you're always in charge, and you're never ever controlled by the cigarettes. So you're learning from your habit to become more confident, more self-empowered. And this is extremely important with regard to any habit, any addiction, to any substance, whether it's alcohol, cigarettes, or medication. So when you are learning from your habit rather than dismissing it as a nuisance, as something that is detrimental to your health, you're basically telling your body that it's actually good for me. I'm learning something from this. This is going to be one of the best things that can happen to me. So by changing the perception of what you want to kill or destroy or get rid of, you want to learn from it, you want to embrace it, you want to accept it. And by accepting it is like having a different attitude towards your addiction or habit, letting it come in, using it for self-empowerment. And there is no one, I would not even tell anyone that you want to quit smoking. And you don't want to even use the word quit smoking. You want to learn from your smoking. You want to grow because of it. You want to use it to make yourself bigger, stronger, more loving, caring. And so you want to embrace your addiction or habit. And this is something that will naturally make it unattractive when you no longer need to empower yourself. You will stop smoking by completely naturally, and you will not have to do that anymore. The main reason why your person is addicted is because there is an innate weakness, a weakness of lack of confidence, a lack of self-esteem, some kind of inhibition, some kind of feeling not strong when you're stressed. So when you have that inside of yourself, all that is required is the self-empowerment, getting to the point that you are so confident you can do anything, and you are the decision maker. So once again, very simple. When you are taking your next cigarette, you make a decision to bring it to your mouth or put it back into the cigarette pack and cigarette box, or 2 minutes later you decide to smoke it anyway. You smoke it. You decide to smoke only half of it or the whole amount, but do it consciously. And when you are, let's say, automatically putting a cigarette to your mouth, when you do certain things like picking up the phone and then a cigarette goes into the mouth, put the phone down again, put the cigarette in the mouth, start smoking, and then pick up the phone. So it's not that there are certain triggers that that are automatically make you do the act of smoking, but that you are actually disassociating from those particular triggers, and you are becoming more conscious and aware that these triggers are there and they make you smoke. But in reality, they are not making you smoke. They're just triggers. You're allowing them. So by disassociating from these triggers and making them more conscious, by saying, well, I'm getting out of the door, and normally you automatically put a cigarette in your mouth and you light it, you go back into the house and then close the door, open the door again, light the cigarette, consciously say, okay, I just came out of the house and I'm automatically putting it, so that it's a conscious act rather than an unconscious act. And these are very, very simple things that lead you to that self-confidence that you are the decision maker in this process, and that you're learning from your smoking rather than that you have to fight something that is so difficult to get rid of. So it's not a difficult thing to get rid of, because you don't want to get rid of it. You want to embrace it. You want to love it. You want to learn from it, and once you have learned from it, you no longer need it, and you will simply forget to smoke. It will simply not be in your awareness, because you are fulfilled in many different ways than the smoking could ever contribute to adding anything to your life, anything useful to your life, once you have gained that self-empowered state of self-confidence. And I think this will give you some clues what you can do on a day-to-day basis. There's no need to hurry this process. Take as long as you need and want. The most important thing is that you feel you are in charge. You are the one that makes the decisions. Thank you. And our choices are the ones that bring us certain experiences, such as pain, suffering, joy, pleasure, ups and downs. And these choices we have to acknowledge. However,